What's going on? How you been? Are you ever gonna get that truck finished or painted? That's what I hear all the time. Too many times I've done full restorations and it's gonna get a new motor and transmission and there's gonna be all this mechanical work done after the body. And then they come back a year later and they're saying, oh yeah, well we got everything sorted out and now I'm driving it, but we've got this dent here and this scratch here. I'm wondering if you can repair it. I've tried to avoid that. Just a little under 6 months, I've been driving it as a daily driver, sorting out a few more mechanical things along the way. But it does get to a point when a guy figures he should put that $2,000 worth of paint material or more in countless hours into the truck and actually get it closer to finished. Finished by some people's standards. So we're going to stash that away and we're going to start going over the body panel by panel and we're going to see what's really going to take me to get this all the way up to paint. We'll walk around and I'll show you why I say that. So the old tailgate does need some work. I had an incident where it dropped off the truck and dragged a little ways not too long ago, so I've got fresh repairs to be made on the gate if this is the gate that I continue to use. I wouldn't ditch it because of that. I'll get into, I have a trim piece that could go along the back. I don't want to put holes in this almost perfectly good gate in order to facilitate that trim piece, and I may end up making my own trim piece that has lights built in. On these bumperette looking things will be bumpers. It will be a split bumper, and so those need to be fabricated from scratch. That happens. A step belongs on here that will visually tie into the bumper that will be made. So more fabrication from scratch to be done. Along this side, it's pretty clean. I had a rust repair. This has kind of been a 2-year experiment. Maybe you will find the other videos on it. The idea is this was slightly rusted out. I put in a small patch, ground it down, put some cheap 1K primer on it, and it has been out in the elements for at least 3 years now. So it's still good and strong. This is what we'd call surface rust, but I am going to need to clean that up and finish it. Fuel door. This one is gonna go. Something else has got to be put there. I need to decide what and make it happen. The cab was done 10 to 12 years ago already. Cab corners, rockers, and it got painted here in this very shop. Since then, obviously, I've put on the kilometers. It's been out in the weather. We've got some edges here that need to be cleaned up, and it will need to be painted red in order to match the rest of the truck. But it will need prep time. This door, it was done and then primed around the same time that the cab had been finished and painted. Since then, though, I did hit it down here with a go-kart. It was kind of a careening off sort of impact, but there is a low spot. It needs to get pushed out a little bit and some filler or glaze work done. This fender, really relatively very clean and straight. I had one incident here with something, I can't remember what. So that, and I had a steel lip, let's say, or wind deflector once upon a time, and during impact that came up and bumped the fender, so we have a very small dent there to deal with. Each of those items is probably less than an hour worth of work each. More time in prep time than repairs. The hood, I prepped it a year ago and put base coat on here out of an aerosolized can. That was an experiment that went with this door. I'll get to that in a moment. Otherwise, we've got stone chips and bug splatter that will need to get addressed, and then it is ready for paint. The bumper and this valance, sort of same thing. There might be some small spots on the valance where we've got to feather some edges back to properly prime it, and then it will be ready for paint. The bumper, scratches from stepping on it while working on it, and it's a bumper, so it gets bumped into occasionally. This fender is clean as far as I know. I have not damaged it since refinishing it. This door, clean, no damage to repair except for the paint. This was an aerosolized paint job out in the wind in the yard, and it showed me what that aerosolized paint looked like compared to the color of the Viper Red shot here 10 years prior. So we definitely have plenty of color differences on the spectrum. Don't worry, this was out of an aerosolized can. It's getting some nice sun fade patina, and that was called a Ford Red. It was in fact very close to the roof color once upon a time. Although the roof has no damage, I still haven't decided whether my fresh paint job will come up part way, if I'll do some custom something in between, maybe, yeah. So we're still going there. Otherwise, it doesn't have any damage to be repaired, just needs to be sanded down and primed, sealed, and painted. This cab corner rocker sort of area, same thing, just a little bit of surface rust from the paint getting chipped off, so best to get that now before it gets deep. This box side has lots of little ripples in it. There's a spot here, looks like a crack in previous filler, so I wouldn't be surprised if we're digging in on this. I already did dig in here. It doesn't feel that great to me. There was a crack in filler here. I dug into it, and it turns out that there had been a fuel door here once upon a time. It had been filled up, and amongst moving the box on and off, something flexed, where the metal would flex and the filler would not, so we got a crack, which then let in moisture, which started to patina the steel right away. And that corrosion has been taken care of, but it could use a little bit of smoothing out for sure. So lots of, I wouldn't say lots, it's not really that bad for an old box. This box side would have been redone in '95, so it's been used as a truck as long as I've had it. Small little pressure dents, I don't know. Lots of that will probably smooth out with the primer surfacer, and I'm not going for high quality show truck finish. I just want a nice paint job on my old truck, and I'm going to continue to use it as a truck, and it will likely continue to get damaged.